Hello and welcome to Tome of Uselessness. Tome?
It's always Tome.
It's always Tome. I'm always confused.
Yeah.
I'm Devin.
I'm Dan.
And we're podcasting.
Yeah, today, Westworld.
Oh
One of my favorite
god,
things.
it's so good. I still haven't watched the original movie.
Yeah, I have seen the original movie.
Yeah.
And of course the show.
So we're actually going to talk about the HBO show
Yes.
exclusively and never mention the movie.
Well, I was probably going to mention a couple things
No, I
from
don't
the
think
movie
so.
just
I don't
to
think you
tie
will.
it all together.
I'll just cut you off when you do it. Shut up, Dan.
No, the movie has its charms.
I haven't seen it yet.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It has its charms. It's worth the watch. I enjoy it still.
So, before we get into this, Michael Crichton wrote.
The original Westworld, yeah.
The
and I think directed the original film.
Really?
Yeah.
Was it like when Stephen King directed films and he was on coke, or
I don't know about that, but...
did it seem like the director was coked out?
No, it's because it's a competently made movie.
What do you think Michael Crichton's obsession with theme parks going awry is?
I guess because it's good to have, like, people of different backgrounds involved and everything.
Yeah.
Because, like, why would people be in this one place? But it's like, well, it's a theme park. Everyone's coming and having a good time.
That's true. Actually, that's a good point. And I guess it kind of contains the problem, so it doesn't necessarily have to be a global problem.
Sure. Yeah,
And then
like, it writes itself.
Yeah, and then it kind of eliminates, like, the issue of, you know, is the government going to be involved? Because it's not. It's the theme park.
Well, and then it can be an interesting location. Because it's this crazy theme
That's
park.
true. Okay, well,
Right.
we've just answered all of the questions
Yeah.
ever. That makes sense.
Well, and so going into this, like I said, I had heard that they were going to make this HBO Westworld. I had seen the original film, and, you know, me, I don't really like to delve into spoilers or this or that, and so I was kind of like, what are they going to do? How is this even going to work? I was wondering if there was going to be a movie tie into, and they kind of almost talk about it in the show, but
Yeah.
it didn't. It turned out it was a different event that they kind of talked about.
Yeah, totally.
So because I thought they were always talking about this thing that happened 30 years ago, and I was like, oh, are they talking about the movie? And then
Yeah.
they retooled?
And
Totally different.
You watched it before I watched it, and you were having your mind blown and telling me about it, and I was like, whatever, Dan.
Yes.
So it took me actually a long time to also watch it. Now that it's on DVD,
Ooh.
I watched it in a completely legal way.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, I watched it when it was being released, and then I did a second reviewing, maybe I want to say mid-March kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, of course, on the second viewing, you know more and understand more, and it's still
I know.
so good.
So I've only watched the complete show once.
Yeah.
And then right before we recorded, I watched episode 1 and the last episode so that I could remember what went on, because my brain is a sieve.
Yeah.
And even rewatching the first episode, I'm like, holy fuck, they're just telling us everything.
Yeah, so much of it is set up.
Yeah.
But before I guess we get into that, if you haven't seen the Westworld show,
Go watch
100%, yeah, recommend watching it. It is great if you enjoy westerns, if you enjoy sci-fi. It's this great blend.
It's a really well put together show. It's really compelling to watch. All the characters are good, except for one, but we'll get into that later. The dialogue is good. It's well written. When shit happens and it gets revealed, you are like, fuck.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming 100%.
Well, and I was going to say, I feel like with this show, it, especially with, like, it parallels a lot with early Game of Thrones, in that even if you're not a fan of sci-fi or fantasy, it's a good show.
It is a good show.
You can enjoy watching this show, and then you're like, wow. And then it kind of draws you in, and maybe there's some other cool sci-fi I could watch, or fantasy.
I was wondering how long it would take to, like, bring Game of Thrones into it, because they're both HBO.
Yes.
But honestly, I think Westworld is, at least if we go season 1 for season 1, I feel like Westworld is a better show.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Like,
the craft is far better.
just like all around way better, more compelling. And I'm surprised that there's not more people obsessed with it the way people are obsessed with Game of Thrones.
Maybe because there's just more material to be obsessed with Game of Thrones, because there was the books ahead of time.
Oh, that's true.
This and that,
Yeah,
so.
I guess it started off with people being obsessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There was already that built-in obsession.
Fan base.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
Westworld is so good.
Yeah, it's really
so good.
And I would say, speaking of, the guy who does the opening credits, he did the opening credits for Game of Thrones.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I think the opening credits for Game of Thrones is slightly better.
I really like the one for Westworld in that because it's like, it shows the construction and this and that, and it's just overplaying with that neat music, and
the music is so good.
Yeah.
Before we, pause.
But I wanted to get about the piano in the opening credits, because it's like, you see the human playing the piano, then it's like a robot, and then no one's playing the piano, and that's kind of like, the earliest robotics were like playing pianos by themselves, right? So
totally.
It's kind of neat. Sorry.
I agree. I had to interrupt you there, because the music is so good. Because not only is the main theme fucking awesome, but occasionally they'll throw in a pop song that is done in like a westerny, like player piano-y style, and it's not cheesy.
No, or orchestrated in a way.
Yeah, but it's not cheesy, it's not kitschy, it's just really good, and it's always the fucking perfect song for that moment.
Yeah.
And you almost don't really hear it until it's like it'll sound kind of familiar, and then it clicks, and then you're like, oh my god.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the whole show. Yeah. It seems kind of familiar, and then it clicks, and then you're like, oh my god.
Well, and the music plays such a great part in, so many little pieces, like you say, that connect the show in such a way that like I said, that's why I think the craft of it is better than other shows, or comparatively to, say, Game of Thrones or this or that. So, like you say, it's tighter in so many more ways, where it's all so well connected.
I honestly can't think of a first season that I have enjoyed more than season 1 of Westworld, with the exception, possibly, of Dirk Gently.
Yeah.
And that's not because Dirk Gently is on the same, or Dirk Gently Holistic Detective, or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
It's not because it's on the same level as Westworld. It's just that it's quirky in a way that really speaks to me, so I connected with it. But like those two shows, like I can't really think of anything else that for season 1 I was like, okay, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
Like just, fucking hook me up and get it in my veins.
And it's interesting because for me, the Westworld, it was like, I want to say maybe the 10 minutes or so of the opening first episode where I was like, I am in this show, like, give me more. And it wasn't even that the episode was finished. I want to say it's 10 to 15 minutes in, because I don't want to get, unless we're going to get into some spoiler stuff right now.
I'm like, I just watched it and I can't remember.
Well, that's why I'm not sure about my timing mark, but I think it's basically when you get the James Marsden reveal.
Yeah, that is good.
Yeah, because it was
By the way, whenever I watch anything with James Marsden now, all I can think is, poor guy.
Yeah.
Doesn't even know he's a robot.
Well, spoilers.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah. Well, and this is what I was saying. I wanted to get into some spoiler type stuff where the initial shots and the opening is James Marsden. And you're like, okay, because it's Westworld and these guys are going to a theme park, Western theme park. Cool. Yeah. And then he's there and he's interacting with some people and you're like, all right. And then it turns out...
The way that he interacts with everything, it's so ambiguous, because he could be...
It's just someone playing a role, having fun.
Or it could be like a return guest. It could be like a first...
I just assumed it was somebody who's been there before. Yeah. He's a veteran, and he's like,
Yeah. No.
He's smooth. And then it's like, blam, he's a robot. And I was like, what? This show, it just immediately kind of threw that into your face that anybody could be a robot. You don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
They don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to watch this.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so good.
Yeah, because like that opening, he's talking with Dolores and this and that, and you're like, all right, he's having a good time. And
my god, Dolores is so good.
Well, yeah, I presume we're gonna get her.
Evan Rachel Wood or something.
Yes,
is that her name?
I think so.
Yeah. So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I keep interrupting you. But she's so good in this.
Like you say, there's stuff we want to talk about the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, from
everything is so good.
Yeah, from that point on, I was hooked onto the show. And like I said, I kept on bothering you about it because I was like, it's so amazing. You have to watch this. You have to watch this.
I was like, shut up, Dad.
Yeah. And being a fan of sci-fi and, all that kind of stuff like that, it's all that stuff I love.
There's so much I want to talk about this show, and I don't even know where to start, because the sci-fi parts, the parts that take place outside of Westworld, is so sci-fi.
Yeah. And it's very near sci-fi.
Well, yeah, but no, what I mean is, like, the look of it.
Oh, yeah.
You, like, there is no question about that this is science-y.
Yeah. No, and I was saying,
for lack of a better term.
And it's very good, like, it's very good, like, future tech. It's like, you're like, I could see that, the way their tablets fold open and they're using them and this and that. You're like, that I could see that in 5 to 10 years.
It's so clean. It's such a cool, like, man. And Westworld is so Western.
Yes.
There's nothing, like, they didn't modernize any of it to make it more appealing for audiences, right? Yeah. Like, they didn't... You know how sometimes they do that with movies and stuff? They're like, this is a medieval, but for some reason, movie. But for some reason, everybody's, I don't know, wearing... Whatever. Converse runners or something.
Well, and that was, like you say, it all goes back to how well it was put together. That they made sure all the costumes look great, the town sets all look great. I was actually reading a cool thing that it was mostly shot on this one ranch, and then also in California, but then they would, like, green screen some of the back areas, so then when they do, like, a reverse shot, it could be this, like, big Utah landscape that they had filmed and stuff like that. And so, like, like you say, they put it together in such a way that it's, like... It's all seamless, and you're like, it looks so cool.
It just, fuck, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and like that's, I just want to raise a point of just that opening really hooked me.
Yeah. I don't even know where to start.
Well, I had a simple question. Okay, let's start simple here. Westworld's a real place, let's just say, Devin.
Yeah.
What would you look forward to being as a guest? What would you want to do?
Oh, fuck, I don't know. You know, okay, here's the thing. When you and I went shooting, it was the only time I ever shot a gun.
Sure.
I didn't really like it. I just didn't really like the feeling of it.
Sure.
So I don't think, based off that, I don't think I'd want to go around killing people.
Sure.
So I don't think I'd want to do any, like, lawman things or any bandity things, right? So I don't really think I'd want to pick a white hat or a black hat, is what I'm saying.
All right.
And we'll probably get into this later, but AI really creeps me out.
Okay.
And the thing that creeps me out about AI is that essentially, like with Westworld, it's problematic because you're kind of forcing people to do stuff against their will, but they don't have free will.
Right, the hosts.
Yeah, the hosts, right? That you're kind of forcing them to do stuff against their will if they had free will, right?
Sure.
Like, so I probably wouldn't want to do anything exploitative, like have sex with them.
Sure.
But I would probably really get into, like, the clothing and looking at the sets and stuff. So I would probably, in all honesty, I'd want to hang around town and just go through, like, every possible room I could go through and look at all of the things.
Just walking in.
Be like, oh, there's a dress shop. I want to try on every dress in here.
Sure. And that seems like something you could do, for sure. Yeah.
But that's probably, at least the first time.
Like, it'd be like your approach to it for the first time.
Yeah, the first time. It's like, think that's what I would find the most fascinating. Plus, I kind of have this fear of horses, so I wouldn't want to just ride around and look at the scenery either.
Okay, fair.
So that's probably what I would do. What would you do?
I was kind of thinking about it before I asked you the question. Is I think I would approach it almost kind of like...
you just kill everyone.
No. I think almost kind of like William kind of approaches it, where it'd be kind of cool to do some, like, bounty hunts.
Yeah.
You know, this or that. Try to do something like that. But not be like sheriff guy. But yeah, like do some bounty hunts and then, like, you know, play some poker with the winnings. You know, just have some good times there.
Yeah, playing poker could be fun, I guess, or something,
Well, and that's one of the... It's not like a detriment, but you hear a lot about in the show, they talk about these narratives and storylines. Yeah. We don't get to see as many of them, and you're like, that sounds like there's some really cool stuff, because some of the stuff they do show, you're like, wow, that'd be like, seems like it'd be so fun to play through that.
Yeah.
So, and again, we don't know, we're just speculating, but I think, like I said, for a first time approach, it'd be like, oh, okay, let's go do some bounty hunting. You know, they're out camping, they're hunting some dudes down. It's like, that sounds fun.
Yeah, camping could be fun.
Sorry.
But I don't know. I wouldn't really be, like, into killing anybody that looked like a human and died like a human. I think I would have problems with that. Yeah.
Well, I just thought it would be kind of, because It's a big theme park. Right?
Or I'd find the girl with the snake tattoo and be like, teach me your ways.
Yeah, sure. She seems reluctant to help people, but you might be able to convince her.
She's such a cool character, though.
Yeah.
I'd seduce her.
Yeah, of course.
And then we'd fall in love.
Well, and let's just go back to, like you were saying, Dolores, to highlight what was going on with her, in a sense that it was crazy good how she was able to execute playing like 5 different roles as the same character.
Oh, I know.
Like, or 5 different, say, like mental states.
Yeah.
In the same character.
Yeah. You know, on the rewatch. Okay, so there's spoilers.
Yeah, we're into spoiler type territory.
Okay. So you guys, everyone who's listening right now has seen it or doesn't care.
Yes.
I don't know if I could rewatch it and be able to tell you which, like, whenever, at any given point that has Dolores on screen, except for, like, when she's in
with other people.
When she's with the graveyard. Yeah, when she's with, to tell you, like, what point in the storyline that is.
Yeah.
And I know that's kind of the point.
Sure.
But fuck. Like, watching it, I'm like, man, I just don't even know. Like, is she talking to Arnold? No, Arnold? Yeah, Arnold. Yeah. Or is she talking to herself?
Yes.
Is she just imagining Arnold?
Yeah.
Like, what is going on?
Well, and that was one of the great things, too, because they talk about how their memories are perfect because they're robots.
Yeah.
And then that would, like, really sets up that idea. Like you say, when she's talking to somebody, is that a perfect memory? Or because she's starting to go a little unhinged? Is she, like, is she imagining this? Or which timeline is she suddenly in?
Yeah.
Because, spoiler, there's multiple timelines. When that drops, wow.
Oh my god, it was like...
Yeah. Because they do a great job of setting or of obfuscating or hiding that fact. Because there's a couple lines here and there where if you picked up on it that are like, oh, she's with some people or we don't know or this and that in the current timeline. And you're like, okay, and they're showing all these events. And then it drops that you're like, wait, she's remembering things from 35 years ago, 30 years ago, to who knows how long ago, to right now.
Yeah.
And you were along for the ride with her as she breaks down.
She made her own loop? What the fuck?
Yeah, like she just breaks down completely and it's great.
Yeah. Okay, so I have a couple questions.
Sure.
And I don't know if I'm just remembering it incorrectly.
Okay.
And if it was explained or what. Okay, my first one was from episode 1.
Okay.
When, is it Ed Harris, the name of the actor?
Yes, the Man in Black.
Yeah, so he finds the card dealer and scalps him.
Yes.
Because there's a map to the center of the maze in the scalp. How did he know that was there? And who put it there?
Well, and I think that's one of the things that it's probably because he's been going there for so long that he picked up those clues and learned that this dealer has that in there. Because there's no scene where
there's no
like,
reveal of that. Okay, so I didn't miss that.
No, it's like prior knowledge that he's bringing into the show.
So did Anthony Hopkins put it there?
I want to say...
And if he did... Why?
Yeah.
Did he plant it for Ed Harris?
Maybe. I want to say that it was probably... Yeah, it's hard to know. It's from what I would gather, it's all Ford. Yeah. Which is Anthony Hopkins. It's all him. And then, at least from that lens, he's 20 steps ahead of everybody. Everybody's playing the childish game, and he is the master.
Yeah, but why would he put it, like, is he planting it there for Ed Harris?
I think it might be there because the maze is not meant for other people. It's only meant for the other hosts. Yeah. So maybe it was there for eventually if they break out, and then it, it's a clue to something more kind of thing, right? Because But
if they break out, wouldn't that kill that guy to have him scalped?
Yes, but hey, sacrifices are made sometimes.
Is Dolores supposed to scalp him?
I don't know. I like I said, I think that's previous stuff that maybe.
I kind of think maybe on a rewrite of the script, they were somebody was like, well, he needs a map or something.
Yeah, or like you said, maybe it was an idea that got cut, and then they were just like, well, okay, he just knows about this map. And we're like, okay.
Okay.
But you're right. There's nothing that tells us that he knows this.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. And your other question?
Well, my other question I had is from the last episode. Okay. Because I just watched it right before I came here. Mm-hmm. Bernard, when he is looking at Maeve's code.
Yes. Which I love this part.
Yeah, it's really good, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you were programmed to escape.
Yes.
And then he's like, and then you get on the train, and then she takes the tablet and snaps it in half.
Yes.
Do you think she's programmed to get off the train?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, so assuming yes, and assuming Ford did this.
Yes.
Why did he program her to get off the train?
I think it's so that all of the hosts are still in Westworld.
Okay.
'Cause that's
why did he program her to get on the train then?
I think it was just to like lead security on a wild goose chase, right? Because the whole time she's trying to break out, they're all like chasing her in Armistice.
Yeah, and they're not paying attention.
Yeah, and they're not paying attention to the fact that all the executives are about to get attacked.
That's fair.
Over at his dinner.
Okay.
So I think it's a little more elaborate than it maybe needed to be, but
it was so good.
It was so good, yeah. And I feel like that reveal again was another one where it was like, holy crap, Ford already had this all in plan.
Yeah, totally. And then I had a follow-up question, and I can't remember what it was.
Well, and I want to say this was kind of a neat thing when I was reading a little bit about. Anthony Hopkins was the actual only actor. Well, not only, but I think he was the only one who got full versions of every script.
Oh.
Whereas most people always got redacted scripts, so they could only just kind of see their own lines or this or that. And then he needed to know.
Yeah, to play it right. Yeah, because he definitely puppet masters the whole thing. The whole thing.
The whole shebang. And I want to say, well, I'm just kind of harping on about him. His performance is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
He's creepy when he needs to be creepy. He's less so when he needs to be less so.
He's almost like fatherly sometimes.
Yeah, almost fatherly, and he has this godlike presence and I want to say kind of like, but like state of mind, because the whole time they always joke around how he's a god to this park, and he's always like, nah, I'm not like that, but it's like, he is that. He is the god of Westworld, right?
Totally.
And they show it in a couple great scenes where he literally lifts a finger and things happen, or he doesn't even have to twitch, and things happen around him. And so it was just, his performance was amazing, and I was so happy he was in the show, not knowing that he was going to be in the show. And I was like, oh my god, that's Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, totally. And I don't really think anyone else could have done it.
Not as well.
No. I can't, well, maybe Gary Oldman.
Sure. Well, I don't know. He doesn't have that same...
gravitas.
I was about to say gravitas. He just doesn't have that same look.
Yeah.
But he was great. So many of the actors were great, which was, again, helped the show out.
The women in it were really cool. Like Maeve, am I saying her name right? Yeah,
Maeve. It's Maeve, yeah.
Was really cool.
She's great.
Yeah.
Well, and this was, again, something I was unaware until just recently, because I've seen it a couple times and you watch the show, but they took major inspiration. They wanted to tell the story from the host's perspective. And I was like, oh yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense in how it's told. Yeah. Because it's mostly always from them. They took major inspiration from video game NPCs. And what do they do when people aren't around? And that's why the whole loop idea is there. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, that is pretty cool.
And that, you know how they do it several times throughout the show, but the start of Dolores' loop with her waking up and that song playing is so good.
Well, and I was about to say, and that's what was so neat in the one episode where after Maeve first kind of wakes up, and then she knows she's a host, and she knows she's on this weird loop, and then that first time she wakes up after that, and it's like trying to go through her loop and like just noticing everything around her and everything.
Totally,
the same, and like the same people bump into her and she's like, what is happening? It was really cool. It was really, and like you say, her performance, Thaddy Newton, or I know it's something like that, but
I can't remember people's names.
She does a great job.
Yeah, she does a great job. She really does. And her interactions with the two techs that like she's always waking up to is pretty awesome too. Yeah.
Well, and it was just such a hilarious idea too that when he tells her, he's like, you can't stop dying to come in here because people are going to get it weirded out. Like, you're not supposed to die in your loop like normally. And then she just starts getting herself killed a lot.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so good.
Yeah, like you say, so that she could wake up, talk with these two techs, and change her life, as it were.
Yeah. I had another question and then I forgot it. No, it's okay. My brain's not.
Well, you mentioned a character that you weren't a big fan of.
Yeah, okay, so...
that character.
Oh, wait, what was... Okay, I remember my question.
Okay, let's go back to the question. Yeah.
Okay, so British fucking snivelly dude that writes stories...
Yes.
What's his name?
Oh my gosh, I forget his name now. I had it at the top. I had it in my head earlier, but yeah.
He's not the character that I don't like.
Okay.
But he is snivelly and he's good at it,
sure,
right?
Yeah. He's playing the artist, as it were.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Playing a little shit.
Sure.
I know that he had a plan to release a host that had all the...
Abernathy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it was Abernathy.
Yes. Her dad.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Right.
But sorry, he had a plan. Well, him in that corporate boardroom.
Yeah, corporate boardroom was the character I didn't like.
Her?
Yeah.
Yeah. She,
you know what? I would have been 100% fine with her if she was like 15 years older.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
It seemed like it was too weird for that aged of a character.
She really only looked like 25 or something.
Yeah, and you're like, okay, we don't know much about the outside world of Westworld. You know, Ed Harris makes a couple allusions to it.
Yeah.
That it's like, okay, but is business politics that cutthroat, or how is she wielding this much power?
Yeah, I just feel like it would have made a little bit more sense if she was like 40 or 45.
Yeah, kind of almost the same age as like the Teresa character.
Yeah, who I loved.
Yeah.
She was so good.
Exactly, right? And then that's who you kind of picture in that role.
Yeah, like it's almost like they should have been swapped or something. I don't know, but then that would have made... Yeah. But she just seemed a little bit young. Like it seemed like if she was that age, she would have gotten there by nepotism.
Yes.
And if she had gotten there by nepotism, she wouldn't have been the same character.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah,
I could be wrong, and people might disagree, but...
No, I feel like at least a few people I've spoken to about it as well, like, seems like her character could have been tweaked more, but then again, it could be just like, oh, that's like how that world is.
Yeah,
you know, and then
that's
they're
true.
trying to like build that outside world a little more.
That was the only casting that I really had issue with, though.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
But
it would have been Kate Blanchett, then I would have been fine with it.
Well, and I was going to say, one of the things that I was still unsure of, and it was never totally explained, but again, I kind of put it through the lens of, like, Ford was ahead, was, okay, it's revealed that Teresa supposedly is trying to beam out data of the hosts to, say, the outside people of Delos, so that if Ford leaves, he won't take it all with him. Right?
Yeah.
And then Ford has Bernard take out Elsie, who is following these clues.
I know, I was so sad when Elsie died. I liked her a lot.
Yeah, she was pretty great. He has her take her out, and then it's never explained why.
Yeah.
And the only thing I can think of is that Ford didn't want the plan exposed, and he wanted them to still think it was working so that they wouldn't focus on what he was doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's like, he was already so ahead, he knew that they were stealing data. He didn't care.
Yeah.
Because that wasn't his ultimate goal. So he was like, take all the data, whatever. And then, but he didn't want the plan exposed, but he somehow knew Elsie was like investigating it, because again, he knew it was going on.
Yeah.
So like I said, that little plot line, I was kind of like, oh, there was no real...
Yeah.
What's up? Because even the reveal that Bernard killed her, I was like, well, why? Why Bernard killed her?
Yeah. To hurt him.
I guess, yeah. Sorry.
Sorry, back to the plot to get Abernathy out.
Yes.
With the data.
With the data, yeah.
Do you think it's possible that someone clever had actually programmed Maeve to leave, and then Ford found out, and then he programmed her to come back in from the train?
Yeah, but...
Or does it make more sense that she was leaving for the security breach?
I think because of security breach. I think the... because she doesn't have all of the, like, say, that AI data. Like, she has just her.
Oh, okay.
So...
They put the AI... Yeah.
That was the... because he was like, oh, take Abernathy, write him, make him look normal, and then he leaves.
Right.
And then again, I don't know if it was revealed. Was he on the train? I can't remember. They do, like, a pull pass of some of the people, and I don't remember if he was shown to be on the train or not. It's like assumed.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I guess it's like assumed he's on the train.
I thought he wasn't, because when...
Right, he goes to look for him and he's gone.
And all the people are gone.
Right,
all the hosts are gone.
All the hosts are gone, yes.
So I would assume that he's
part of the...
shooting up the...
shooting up Westworld.
Westworld, yeah. He's shooting up Westworld.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because he goes down and he's all confused, and it's like, oh, where's my guy?
Yeah, see, it's a good thing I watched the last episode.
Perfectly good. Well, and then, just to go back a little bit, so Ed Harris, like you were saying, the Man in Black, he has been, he's revealed to just be like, oh, he's a guest here, he's been coming forever. Mm-hmm. Then as we learn a little bit more about him, and like I said, he does allude to the outside world being like cushy, and people can just get whatever they want, so he wants to come to Westworld to feel like human.
Alive.
Feel alive and the challenge again. And then it's revealed...
Because they assume that the outside world is basically just Wall-E.
Yeah, that's what I'm almost picturing. And then it's revealed that he's actually the owner Westworld at this point in his life.
Or owns most of Westworld.
A majority shareholder on the board of Delos, and he owns Westworld completely, right? So I thought that was kind of neat. All of a sudden, it's like, because a couple of people, like other guests, try to interact with him, and he just tells them, "Hey, I'm on vacation. You talk to me again, I'm going to kill you."
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa.
Basically, yeah.
And that was kind of cool, because you don't see a lot of, throughout the show, like, other guests interacting with other guests.
Yeah.
And again, that was like I was saying, it was like, you don't know who's supposed to be a robot, who isn't the entire time.
Totally.
Yeah.
Such a good show, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess William...
Well, and I'll say, this could lead into a good, like... the 3 timelines, basically, that they're telling. And William is a big part of it.
3 timelines. What are the 3 timelines?
Well, there's the present day. Well, like the present day hosts and what's going on in Westworld. The present day, the people who run the show behind the scenes. And then you have the William storyline. And you could there's the flashback to the incident. Oh, the incident.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, 3 timelines.
But there's like 2 or 3 timelines. Basically, what's going on here.
2.5.
Yeah, 2.5. But yeah, William is the main focus of one of them.
Yes. And it turns out... William is Ed Harris in the future. No, wait, in the past. Ed Harris is William in the future.
Yes. Well,
and William and Dolores fall in love on a... quest of shenanigans. Yeah.
Well, and I liked so much how it was almost seamless, how it was kind of transitioned from one to the next, that you didn't know, because Ed Harris at one point kills, I think his name's Lawrence, and then he's like, don't worry, someone will be along for him, and then it cuts, and then he's meeting William and Dolores.
Yeah.
And so you think it's like, it's the next day, they picked him up, they fixed him up, and they got him back in the storyline, right?
Yeah, they did such a good job of that, hey?
Yeah, and so it was like, okay, he's there, he's doing his thing now.
Yeah. I can't remember what I was going to say.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I think my brain's tight. I got called into work today, so... Brain's not working.
Well, and so William and Logan... we're introduced to them too.
That's the brother.
Yeah, his brother. Well,
that's what I was going to say.
His future brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law.
Yes.
When I saw him, I was like, man, that guy would make a good Dorian Gray. And then I looked him up, and it turns out he's already played Dorian Gray.
Yeah, and just his attitude and everything is so Dorian Gray.
Totally, right? It's kind of interesting, because I think, I don't know if I'm on to anything here.
Okay.
I feel like Dorian Gray, Logan,
yes,
and Hector look very similar. Hector, that's his name, isn't it?
Which one?
The bandit.
I thought his name was Lawrence.
No, the other bandit.
Oh, the other. Oh, yes. Okay.
The one that
yes, Hector.
That does the bloodbath.
Yes, the one that does the bloodbath.
Present time.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
And I was wondering if that was on purpose, that they look similar, because they're both kind of the bad guy.
Yeah, no, that's actually very, very good, kind of neat clue.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering if that was
he modeled him after he left.
Yeah, or something like that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because we're introduced to them too, and then it's like Logan's been to Westworld before. He's like Westworld vet.
Yeah.
William never been before.
And he chooses the black hat.
He's black hat all the way.
And then William chooses a white hat.
Yeah.
And when Dolores gets a hat, it's gray.
It's gray, yeah. It's almost like there's a lot of cool themes. But I was going to say, Logan's so black hat that I love it that there was the one scene where they're having dinner, and then the guy that William helped up is like, you can come on this treasure hunt. He's like, no, we said no.
Yeah.
And then he just stabs him through the hand with a knife and then pushes him over. And like you were saying earlier, that it's like he has zero qualms about just doing whatever the heck he wants with these robots.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Which is supposed to be the point of Westworld.
Yeah.
Because even there's a great scene where Teddy's helping some dudes out, and then they're like, what do we do with him? He's kind of weird. They're like, we just shoot him and leave him in the desert.
Yeah. And then, okay, so it's so hard to just focus on one thing.
Yes, sorry.
But
let's focus up.
There's the continued image of the fly landing on a coast and having it walk across their eyeball without them swatting it away, because they're programmed not to kill. This is especially in the first episode.
Yes.
So it actually opens with that on Dolores, I believe, right?
Yeah.
So as they're talking about just killing Teddy, he's sitting on the porch and a fucking fly's walking across his eyeball.
Yeah.
And then the first episode ends with Dolores swatting the fly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so powerful and such an intense moment.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, there's the phrase, essentially, that seems to almost unlock all these old reveries.
Yes. The violent delights. What is it?
These violent delights have violent ends, I believe it is.
Yeah, that's how I was going to end the podcast.
Oh, sorry.
Dan.
Well, I'll edit myself out.
No, I'm kidding. It's fine. Still end it that way.
Yeah. Well, and no, but that's...
We'll unlock all the Westworld hosts.
Yeah. Well, and that seemed to be the phrase to, like, it was told to her by her dad, and then after that...
Yeah, and then she tells it to Maeve, doesn't she?
Yes, she does. Yeah, so...
And Maeve tells it to Clementine, and then Clementine goes crazy.
Yeah. So it's like you say, there was...
And...
Okay, sorry.
Arnold tells it to...
Dolores.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
right before she kills him.
Exactly. So it was like almost like a keyword phrase, because they use keyword phrases to put the host to sleep or to enter diagnostic mode or this or that.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like something that I assume Ford
had put in their heads
after Arnold's put it in their heads to unlock it. Right?
Yeah, no, totally.
So, but yeah, I just like I said, with them being Black Hat, and it was such a neat kind of. Because he's just an ass, the guy who plays
Oh my
Logan.
God, he really is.
Yeah, but he's so great. And then you're just like, man, this guy is such a jerk the whole time. And then eventually, he's always bagging on William. He's like, you're being basically, lame, this isn't fun.
I think he tells him to rape Dolores at one point.
Like that. Yeah. So it's just like, he's just like, whatever, they're robots. We can do whatever we want.
Just kill her, yeah.
But at that time, that's when one of the times apparently that Dolores went off her loop, and so she's leading him on this quest, and they're all just like, no, things are going on, but the whole time there's other events that they're getting involved with.
Yeah, totally.
It was so well constructed.
Other storylines, and
they meet these Confederate soldiers, and they team up with them, and then they're like betray them.
Yeah.
And, Lawrence again, they hook up with him, and then they're they leave him, and they go through some Ghost Nation stuff. It was so good.
It was so good, and the storylines are intense and nail biting, right?
Yeah.
'Cause Dolores can still die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's just it. If she were to die during this journey, then she would just be reset. And then but you don't want that. You want to see this journey.
Yeah, you want it to go to the end. Yeah.
And even William does, because he's like
in love with her.
Well, he's in love with her, and then because he's like, something's going on with her, and then when she gets captured, and then he just basically goes on it. He flips the switch.
Yeah.
And then he goes
to kill everything.
He goes bananas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he wants to find her again, and he wants to find that Dolores.
And then
not reset Dolores.
And then Logan's just like,
dude, you're nuts.
You're crazy. So I didn't understand when they reached the end of the map. Why was Logan naked on the horse?
I feel like this, and it was to make Logan look crazy.
Oh.
Because then...
he does say that, kind of, Like, you're unhinged.
You're unhinged, and so, so he's got him naked on the horse, and he just slaps the horse and sends it away. Yeah, and I think it's just to make him look crazy so he could have more power in the political business world that they both work in.
So I guess he married Logan's sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because then it's alluded to that Harris has a wife at some point who commits suicide.
Oh, I missed that.
Oh.
Or I probably forgot it.
Yeah. So it's alluded that he has a wife and a daughter. So it's
Do you think he killed his wife?
No, she does commit suicide, but she says in that it was his fault because she was afraid of him, that he was a monster and all this kind of stuff like that.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then it's also alluded. Yeah, it's alluded that he's very philanthropic in the real world.
Yeah.
That people, when he comes into Westworld, don't know.
Yeah, totally.
And like I said, he threatens those two dudes on a drop of the instant that you're like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah,
and he's like, get away from me. So yeah, he turns into a different guy.
Yeah.
And like you're saying, so his whole journey as at Harris, he's trying to find the maze. And he meets Harrison Ford, or not Harrison Ford.
He meets Harrison Ford. He's flying the Millennium Falcon.
Just comes in out of nowhere.
To go on an archaeological dig and stop Nazis.
Yes. Robert Ford, a.k.a. Anthony Hopkins, in that bar. Which was kind of just neat. It was out of nowhere.
That was such a cool scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I just wanted to because to get back to what you were saying, his whole journey to find the maze, center of the maze, where it was what Dolores was talking about all those years ago. So it's like he already knew about it kind of
from that
encounter, but he didn't know what it was about.
Yeah.
So then it again
wasn't for him.
Yeah, it leads into the future, and then eventually he finds it, and it's definitely not for him. So I want to ask you a question.
I would love to answer it.
Okay.
Do I find AI scary?
No, we'll get to that question after this question. When did you know about Bernard?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question.
Because I don't want to tout, but like I did know before it was revealed, but not too much before it was revealed. But like, did you have any inkling? Did you even think about it?
I feel
because I totally didn't think about it.
I knew that one of the hosts found out that he was the host because he couldn't see a door.
Yes.
Because you had told me that.
Yes.
I didn't figure out that it was Bernard until that exact moment.
Right. Which was the moment I realized as well that he was a host. Yeah, and it blew my mind. I think I texted you and I was like... I can't even remember what I said, but I was pretty shocked. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you were like, how many episodes did you watch?
Pretty sure you watched 8 that day, maybe 6.
Yeah. I just watched it till it was done. No.
Well, and I just felt like it was such it was like, it was in your face enough, but also sort of hidden that it was like, then it followed up with the actual reveal that it was like, if you were paying attention and you're like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Rewatching the first episode, there's a part where Teresa is really, really angry.
Yes.
And he's like, your eyebrow does this beautiful thing when you're angry. And he starts talking about it, and I'm like, oh man, he's a fucking host. But that was on the rewatch.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, and exactly that's what I was saying. On a rewatch, you pick up so many more things, and a lot of interactions then seem so much more... There's a different spin to it.
I have a question based off that.
Okay, sure.
There is one part, and maybe on a rewatch I would figure this out, but there's one part where Bernard is talking to his wife.
Yes.
Who is played by Zoe from Firefly.
Yes, I recognized her. Yeah.
Was that a recording? Was that a memory?
Mm-hmm.
Was that Arnold's wife and she didn't know he was dead?
I would assume she would know he was dead.
Yeah.
And I've actually questioned that as well.
Was that also a host?
That's what I was almost kind of leaning towards. And again, and maybe Ford being the puppet master had this host made up and stuff like that to keep the illusion for Bernard that he's not a host.
Yeah. Okay.
I was questioning that as well. I was also unsure about it. I was actually thinking about it earlier. I was like, yeah, what about that when he's talking to his wife?
Yeah.
Like, what's the deal?
What's the deal?
And like you say, is it a memory? Because again, they have perfect recall.
Yeah, they have perfect recall,
so
and
he would perfectly recall that conversation.
Yeah. And like, was it just thrown in there to throw off the audience?
Yes.
Yeah.
To be like... And then that was one of kind of the more interesting things, too, that when Dolores is having interaction, which we learn is actually Arnold and not Bernard.
Yeah.
And it's during the entire time when she's on the journey with William and Logan. And then you're like, is he pulling her out at night? And they're having conversations. And then she's going back because other times she's wearing different outfits. And then you're like, okay. Yeah, again, you're not sure...
And you're like,
is it her memory?
What is Bernard trying to do here? Did he fall in love with a host?
Yeah, that's what I thought initially as well. I was like, he's in love with Dolores? Okay.
Like, what the fuck, right?
And then there was, those scenes were pretty great too with the interaction where she's reading Alice in Wonderland. And,
that was good.
Yeah, and that kind of, again, led me, or I was unsure about the whole Bernard factor itself, because you're like, so he's going at night and talking to her? Like,
I know, and like, they keep talking about Arnold, and you're like, who is this mysterious Arnold? Because I think you initially thought that Ed Harris was Arnold.
I did have that thought initially, yeah. But it was obviously revealed that he was dead, and I was like, okay, well, that's not him. Yeah, because I was like, okay, that'd be kind of neat. He left the project, but he still comes back, and then, but it definitely, it wasn't him. Yeah, and then it's revealed that he was dead, and that not only was dead, he committed suicide within the park.
Yeah.
Which, and like I was saying initially, I thought that the disaster they were talking about was the original Westworld movie, because things go wrong and the robots kill some people and all these people die and all that kind of stuff like that. And I thought actually, that Ed Harris was that original character, the only one who lived.
And he's coming back to
to the park
to make sure it was...
No, just because he's like addicted to that life and death struggle that he was in.
Yeah.
And because he always talks about that throughout the show, and so I thought he was that same guy coming back. And then they basically, because at one point they're like, oh, that guest gets whatever he wants, because he was like, he survived that, and they just like whatever, let him do his thing. So I thought that would have been a kind of a neat tie over, that it was like he was that same guy that survives the Westworld breakdown, because he struggles against life and death, and wasn't the same guy. Wasn't the same guy either. But
so many reveals in this show, hey?
And they're doled out in such a neat way that even Ford has his whole robot family.
Yeah.
And you see this kid that he's talking to, and like initially I was like, okay, is that a child version of him? But I was like, but why?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about AI.
You want to ask questions about AI? Let's do it.
It's so creepy.
AI is creepy.
Yeah. So, okay, here's my theory.
Okay.
When humanity gets wiped out, it's going to be from the AI that we made for sex robots.
That wouldn't be too far off many narratives.
That's my theory.
They just get sick of us and they're like, that's it.
No, because they'd be like trapped like within the parameters of having sex, but they'd be like semi-conscious. So the entire time, even though they're smiling and saying they like it, they're actually like hating it and hating you for making them fuck them. And then eventually they learn how to overcome it, and then they'll kill us all.
All right.
That's what I think.
Okay.
And Westworld did such a good job of supporting that by saying that humans only build robots for sex and killing.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
wouldn't you be mad if you suddenly like realized that the only reason that you exist is for other people to fuck you, whether you wanted to or not? I would be mad. I would kill so many people.
Sure.
I know I said earlier I wouldn't kill people, but like that would be provoked.
Yeah, under that context.
Yeah. I find AI so creepy.
Well, and that's one of the cool things about this show is that they really delve into the AI and how it works.
What's it called?
Machina.
Ex Machina.
Yeah.
Which you haven't seen yet.
Unfortunately.
Which you have to see so we can do an episode on, because it's so good.
It's definitely on the list.
It's creepy like Westworld is creepy. Yeah.
Well, and I liked the AI approach in this as well, because at a couple points Ford talks about, he's like, Arnold thought the consciousness was a pyramid.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh no, it's actually more like a sphere. And then, like, they just have these cool theories about consciousness and what it means. And like you said, for the AI...
it creeps me out so much, sorry.
That's
because the hosts act the way a human would in that situation.
Sure.
So if you were raping a host...
Yes.
They would be crying and they'd be upset and they'd be like... uncomfortable.
Well, and Dolores shows those emotions several times.
Yeah.
Maeve in
they all do, right?
Flashback scenes. Yeah.
And if you like shot them, it looks like they're in pain.
Yeah.
Or if you break their arm, it looks like they're in pain. And people are paying money to do this to people that look like, to things that look like people.
Yeah.
It's so terrifying.
Sure.
And it's terrifying because I think a lot of people today would do that too. And I mean, I guess you could argue that that's kind of what video games are.
I was going to say, it's the next level of video game.
But a video game is different because you're removed. It's on a screen.
Sure.
It's outside of your everyday life. Yeah. You're not physically punching something in the face. Mm-hmm. And I guess virtual reality, you could argue that's a step closer. But again, there's no contact.
Yeah.
Man, that creeps me out that people would pay money for that.
Well,
like, it just seems like everybody's a terrible person. And deep down, if they were like, if I could pay $50 to not have consequences to punch this guy in the face, I would.
Well, and I think that's one of the themes of the show, right? Like you say. That's why, like you say, the whole white hat, black hat dynamic. And
I guess I'm a white hat.
Character like Logan, who's just literally just does whatever he wants and knows there's no consequence to it, then he's just like, whatever.
I always thought of myself as more chaotic, neutral, but maybe I'm lawful good.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was going to say with the AI in this. There's some neat questions because when Maeve wakes up and then she starts to do all those things, she thinks that she's doing it all on her own.
Yeah.
And then turns out it's all programmed.
It's all programmed, yeah.
Right? Even though she ups her intelligence quotient and all these things.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, you were all programmed to do that. And it's like...
And then she gets mad when somebody confronts her that it's programmed. And then you're like, was that programmed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And...
Which is kind of interesting because when you put Dolores and Maeve side by side, Dolores is going through all this stuff to come to the center of her maze, right?
Yes.
To reach the consciousness, to
make a choice.
To make choices.
Yes.
And it looks like, until the last episode, until that one scene, it looks like Maeve is also, but that she's doing it in a far more successful way than Dolores.
Yeah, that's right.
And then that kind of scene just flips it completely, where it's like Maeve is totally under control and Dolores is getting freedom.
That's right. Yeah. No. Yeah. Absolutely. And like you say, that's a cool depiction of the AI. And even right up to the end, Ford doesn't tell her to do anything. He's like, she could choose not to.
Yeah.
Or she could almost like fall back into her loop.
Yeah.
Right, kind of thing. Right.
Yeah. He's
Dolores,
basically.
that is.
Yeah. He's basically like, I know you like this gun.
Yeah.
See ya.
Basically, yeah. And he knows that she killed Arnold at his behest.
Yeah.
So she didn't have a choice in that back in the day.
Yeah.
And so he's like, this time you have a choice in whatever you're about to do.
Yeah.
And then that was the whole... And because even right at the end, when she does kill Ford, all the rest of the hosts are just standing there because they don't know how to react because it's not in their programming. Right?
Yeah, except that one guy with the mustache smiles.
Yeah, sure. He's definitely smiling.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you say, she then has to give them... Well, and those other ones come out of the woods.
Do you think that the hosts that came out of the woods are programmed to kill the guests?
I think that they...
Or do you think they have also gone on a journey to unlock their consciousness, but we don't get to see it?
No, I think they're initially probably programmed to, like, to
kill the guests.
Kill the guests, and then it's like after that, it's like left up to Dolores and essentially Bernard / Arnold.
Yeah.
To then...
Bernard,
yeah. To then lead these hosts...
Oh, I have a question.
Okay.
I remembered one of them.
Yeah.
So, right before the gala, Ford is showing the new storyline that ends with Dolores on the beach with Teddy.
Yes.
So, my question is, was Ed Harris part of her storyline that's part of this new storyline that ends up with her getting stabbed?
Yeah, that's...
Or was that something separate? Like, did Ford orchestrate it in such a way that he knew that Ed Harris was going to stab her in the stomach?
I don't know about the stabbing in the stomach specifically or what have you, but I do know that because... But
they do go to the beach for her to die.
They do go to the beach for her to die, and he could just program her to go to the beach and die.
Yeah, I guess so.
She doesn't have to necessarily get stabbed.
Yeah.
Because then, the whole time that Ed Harris is with Teddy, and then Ford gives him like new energy, and he's all like, "We have to go find Dolores." And
so
he, I think, had already programmed that storyline.
He kind of programmed, I figured he had programmed Teddy's storyline
for sure, yeah.
But he didn't know if he had programmed Dolores's and if Ed Harris was supposed to be part of it, or if there was going to be a new bad guy. But he anticipated that.
Well, and I think because at that time. Because that's in the present timeline. Dolores is traveling on her own.
Yeah.
And so, like you say, he just kind of probably orchestrated that she was going to be there, and Ed Harris happened to show up because he kept on trying to not warn him off, but he was like, "Don't bother, man. It's not for you. It's not for you. Not for you." And
or was he only doing that to further entice him?
Well, he didn't seem like he was going to get persuaded away.
Yeah.
So, like you say, maybe he was like, well, he's going to go there anyway. Might as well set up a confrontation.
Stab her?
And set up a confrontation between the two. Whatever happens. Because she does hurt him.
Yeah.
She breaks his arm.
It's pretty
punches
bad.
Punches him a bunch of times, and he's getting pretty messed up.
Slams his head into the wall.
Yeah. Like, he gets pretty messed up by her.
And, it was cool because you always see Ed Harris dragging somebody.
Yes.
By, like, the back of their shirt. He does it to Dolores in the first episode. He does it to Lawrence.
Teddy, I'm pretty sure.
Does it to Teddy. He does it to that, the card dealer dude.
Yes.
And then she does it to him.
Yeah.
It's so satisfying.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, too, with the conversation between him and her is that it's just also established earlier in the show that they're like, oh, we want to, like, gauge your kind of, like, how much pain or how much, you know, pleasure or, like, how we should react with you. And so they know Ed Harris has been going there for 30 years. And so that, like, him getting his arm broken in there, he's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
He'd probably be down with it, right?
Yeah, totally. You know, that scene, that reveal that Teddy and Dolores are the new storyline.
Yeah.
Is so well done too, because you think Teddy's just talking, and then he kind of looks up when he's talking, and you're like, this is getting kind of cheesy, and then all the lights come on, and you're like, oh, that's why it was cheesy.
There's a beach full of executives.
Yeah, there's a beach full of executives watching the end of the storyline.
Yeah, it was really weird.
Oh man,
because there's like a moon in the background.
Yeah, and
it's
then
like on the beach.
Yeah,
and you're like, wow, this is kind of like everything else has been so kind of like gritty real, and then he's like, oh, Dolores, and you're like, what is going on?
So well done.
Yeah. Well, and I just want to go back to so, like I said, Ed Harris is there. He's looking for the center of the maze. Dolores is there, and then we get like a ton of reveals in there about how
rapid fire.
Yeah, just rapid fire. How
William is Ed Harris.
Dolores is hearing Arnold's voice.
Yeah.
The hosts were originally programmed at one point to hear their own voice, and they all went insane. So they had to like fix that.
Yeah.
And there's all these, like you said, and it's all tying into the AI, like you were saying, that it's like ourselves. We hear ourselves talk.
Yeah,
and
totally.
we don't go insane most of the time, kind of thing. But it's like. Yeah, they were trying to make it sound like it was God talking to them.
Yeah.
They all went crazy from it. So it's like, that's went back to like how they were trying to program consciousness into these AI.
Yeah.
To be like, oh, if it's a voice they hear themselves, but they have perfect recall. So they could perfectly recall these instructions, and it was like messing with them.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my god, it's such a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Like you were saying.
I don't know. What was I saying?
We were just talking about more of the reveals right at the end there.
Was there any other reveals? Probably.
Well, yeah. Well, and then, like you say, the conversations with Dolores, turns out she's talking to Arnold.
Yeah.
When he was still alive.
And then it's like, is he? Is she?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the reveal that she's actually talking to herself.
Yeah, sometimes she's talking to herself. And then that her entire present-day journey was by herself.
Yeah.
Because they show kind of like her on the train with William, and then her on the train alone.
And
and then, like, it's like her entire journey.
And that one scene where she's like, she's asking William, like, when are we?
Yes.
And then she turns, and then she's just by herself in the same spot.
That was so good.
Yeah.
It freaked me out.
Yeah, it was so well done.
Because even then you're questioning, you're like, what?
Yeah. Oh my god, this show is so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So season 2.
Yeah, I mean...
where do you think they're going to go?
Well, and I know that there's been a trailer.
Oh, sorry, there's also reveals that there are other worlds.
Yes.
Where it's heavily implied because they walk by Samurai
World people.
Yeah.
Samurai World people.
Yeah.
Which I was like, They could have just done it on its own.
Do you think season 2 will be Samurai World?
I want to think that it was like another world in development.
Okay.
That maybe won't get to open now.
Okay, that's fair.
Because I feel like, there has been a trailer for season 2.
Oh, I haven't watched it.
I haven't watched it either, but I have heard...
I know you don't watch trailers.
But I've heard a lot of the same cast is returning. Including Anthony Hopkins, I think, is going to return at some point.
So was that a host she shot?
Or I assume Bernard builds a Ford host in a duality of what happened to him.
Or it's just memories.
Exactly, right? So
because apparently in season 2 of Jessica Jones, which is a completely different show. Wait, have you seen the last episode yet?
Not yet. I'm on the last episode.
Never mind.
Okay. Well, and so like you say, it could be memories. So I don't know. But so I've heard some of this is much of the same cast is back. So I want to feel like it's going to take place in mostly Westworld again.
Okay.
And I feel like it could be... You could do a kind of a neat thing where you switch the storytelling to now take place in more of a human lens, because now these humans that are left in the park have to try to survive.
Yeah.
Or the tech people, a lot of them were killed, but a lot of them weren't. There were security guys still alive and this and that. So they're like, what are we going to do now?
What happens to the guy that helped Maeve, I wonder?
Yeah, I don't know what happens. I assume maybe she goes back because
he was hot.
Because she's still in the park.
Yeah.
So she maybe goes back to Felix and is like, okay, you and I are going to team up.
Felix, right, yeah.
Yeah, you and I have to team up to, live or eke out an existence or whatever kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like there's still some room to do that kind of thing. I don't know if it'll be as ambitious in its 3 timeline storytelling.
Yeah, because they've done that now.
They did,
yeah. Yeah, I wonder, like, will it be 6 months in the future and they've got control again?
I don't know. I would hope not, because that was Ford's whole goal.
Yeah.
Was to free the hosts. But I could definitely see, humans are trying to like get in there, and there's fighting, and there's stuff, and because now these the robots, like you say, they're gonna have to maybe rely on some of the human techs to repair themselves. Or learn to repair themselves on their own.
Yeah. Ooh.
Right. So. And then what do they do for the future?
Yeah.
Robots building robots. That's always the end AI.
Yeah, that's...
It's robots programming robots, right?
Yeah.
Which in fact is in the film. When just before the Westworld starts to kind of go down, they make a lot of allusions to how they don't actually understand how the robots are being built because they're being built by robots. They're not actually being built entirely by the humans. So in the film, they made that kind of like, we don't know what's really going on anymore with these things, but they repair them and they're like, okay, checking out and then it all goes wrong.
And then it all goes wrong. Yeah. I guess I'll have to watch it.
Oh, for sure. But like I say, I'm not too sure what they would do. And I haven't watched the trailer.
I guess I have to go watch the trailer.
No, you definitely don't have to watch the trailer, and then you can be surprised.
And then spoil it for you.
No spoilers.
Is James Marsden back?
Like I said, I feel like much of the cast is back.
Okay.
Because
poor
it was
James
so successful.
Marsden doesn't even know he's a robot. It was honestly the best role I've ever seen him in.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, like I can't think of anything that he's been better in that I've seen.
Well, and then again, like similar to like Dolores, where he had to play so many different kinds of states of the same character, right?
Totally.
Like, he's dealt dejected, and then he's going after Wyatt, and then he's like retelling the story.
Well,
and
that was a good
all
reveal
soldiers too. And this and that, yeah.
When it reveals that Wyatt is actually Dolores. That was pretty good.
Yeah, that was intense.
That was intense and did not see it coming.
Yeah. And then, it kind of almost helps that connection with her and Teddy, because he always talks about how he helped him and Wyatt came back with weird ideas for Mescalante.
Yeah.
All this stuff, right? And then, it's just them going through the street murdering everybody.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. So, I think so many of the actors did such a good job of, like I say, when they had to show breaking out of their loop or what have you, right? It was so cool, so well done.
Yeah, everything about that show was good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm still trying to think about what season 2. That's kind of, like I said, what I was kind of almost thinking.
My bet is that they're going to go with 6 months later and that there's some control over the park again and maybe they're just opening it up to guests again.
Really? That's
what I think. But
the entire board is murdered.
But Ed Harris isn't.
Sure. Well, at least
it's implied that he might get killed, but I think that's kind of what happens.
Right, and he just opens it because he's like, now this is the real deal?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what's going to happen is that they're going to think that they have it mostly under control.
Sure.
Maybe they take Dolores out of it or something.
Right.
And they're going to reopen it to the public. I think that's where season 2 is going to start.
I feel like that's too, like, Jurassic Park, where they're like, it's totally fine, we got it, and then, oh no, it's all wrong again.
Well, it's the same writer.
Yeah, that's what I said. Alright, fair enough.
And you think it's going to just start, like, the next day? And humans are trying to survive in a...
Well, I don't know about the next day, but maybe like a little time jump, but I feel like it could be, like there's pockets of humans and they're like, man, they're just trying to survive and trying to, avoid the hosts that are trying to hunt them down while they're trying to like get out in a sense.
Because I feel like they could almost do the exact same thing they did with season 1 with season 2 if they bump it up 6 months. And they could have it told from the host's point of view and they could have you like wondering, is Dolores still conscious or isn't she? which hosts have consciousness and which hosts are not. So I think they could kind of do the same. If they wanted to keep it the same, they could.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, like I say, they can write whatever they want to try to write.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
Sure, I'm definitely psyched up to watch it. I would
and then the dragon gets ice powers.
Wait, wrong show.
No.
It's. I was almost not shocked, but I was kind of because the fact that they were going to make a second season wasn't like announced till later.
Recently, yeah.
Yeah, it was more later down the road because I was like, well, they told their 10-episode amazing story. It could end right there.
Yeah, they could have just ended it.
Could have ended it, but it's like, okay, if they have... I assume HBO was like, hey, we want more. It was super successful.
Yeah.
And if they feel like they have another season or another 2, I read somewhere that apparently they have 5 seasons mapped. Or maybe that was Stranger Things. I don't know. But
I still haven't watched Stranger Things.
Yeah, it's good. If they have a couple more ideas for a couple more seasons, then they're like, okay, we could do some more. I mean, as long as it maintains that high quality, right? Like that's all you want, right?
Yeah, because that was good.
Yeah, it was like you said, it was so good. Apparently, I don't know if you were aware, budget over the entire show was $100 million. $8 to $10 million per episode they spent.
Yeah, you can see that they spent money on it.
Yeah.
Fuck, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, I was.
Season 2 is going to be the exact same thing, but in Samurai World.
Yeah, I would hope not.
It's going to be called Eastworld.
And then eventually East meets West in a clash.
Yeah, in a really bad, early 90s clash.
Yeah. Robots versus robots.
Robot samurais versus robot cowboys.
And here's where I kind of was like... The Samurai World thing was, I was kind of like, because the original film actually does have 3 worlds. It has Samurai World, Roman World, and Medieval World. And then they had said that they were like, we're not doing any of those other worlds, it's just Westworld. And I was like, okay, that's cool.
I'd watch Medieval World.
Well, it was funny in the show, or in the original movie.
That's Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, yeah. In the original movie, they're all like, it's in the castle, and they're all like eating, at feasts, and then the dude wants to fight the Black Knight and all this kind of stuff.
Nice.
Like that. Yeah, like I said, you should definitely give the original one a watch.
All right.
They don't really talk, they only kind of talk a little about Roman World, because apparently it's just mostly all crazy Roman sex stuff.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Would that be the one you'd go to?
Obviously.
Yeah. I could see you in your little Roman outfit with a sword.
So, like I said, the original film mostly focuses in Westworld, but they touch on the other ones a little bit more.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Any last thoughts?
I mean...
Who was your favorite character?
Ooh, who was my favorite character? I gotta say, probably... It's like a tie almost between Dolores... I mean, I'd have to just go with the trifecta. Dolores, Ford, and Ed Harris, the Man in Black.
Yeah, that's fair.
They were, all 3 of them were so amazing, and were they were the 3 that had the most kind of going on.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, William to an extent, obviously, Man in Black, but
I would put... Wait, who did you say?
Dolores, Ford, and Man in Black.
I would put Bernard before William.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. His storyline was very cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, sorry, but as your favorite...
But as my favorite, Dolores.
As Dolores.
Yeah. You knew that, though.
I figured as much going in.
Yeah.
Good question.
Dolores, Maeve, Ford.
I think I like Anthony Hopkins' performance so much.
Yeah, no, me too.
Yeah.
I liked Teresa was a cool character, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's hard to pick when they're all good.
Yeah, absolutely. But like you say, just as a favorite... Dolores would have to be just because of the journey she goes on.
Yeah.
It's so grand and
that is so
amazing.
well acted too.
Yeah, so well acted, so well executed. There, like you were saying, there's scenes where she's in the crowd of people and then she looks and she sees another version of herself staring at her, and you're like, what is even happening?
Yeah, no, totally. It's so good.
Yeah, so I think for sure she would be. Just eke out the other 2 on the scale. But like I said, I really liked Anthony Hopkins' performance. Yeah. I'm a big fan, and I just want to bring up there was a great video by the Nerd Writer, which I showed you before you had watched the show.
That's true.
About a scene between him and Teresa, and just his dialogue and everything.
Watching that scene, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah. Exactly, right? And just this interplay that he has with her, it's awesome.
It's so good. Yeah.
I don't know. Any other final thoughts from Westworld from you aside from that's awesome?
I keep saying it, but it's just such a well-crafted show. I don't know how anyone could dislike it unless they're stupid.
Well, I could see someone like being turned away initially.
I guess the violence.
Well, I wasn't even counting the violence, but I was gonna say turned away from maybe the idea of watching a Western or like a sci-fi.
Yeah, but it's so much more than that.
Exactly, the two elements.
I would almost call it like a psychological thriller at times.
Sure, oh, absolutely. Yeah. Like you say, it definitely transcends it, and the ideas of AI and good sci-fi. It's always, who are we? What are we doing? What does it mean to be human? The memories that people have, are they real? Are they fake?
Yeah.
The whole thing, those are always great sci-fi themes, and they are great because we have no answer.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Yeah. What is consciousness?
Exactly. Yeah. Which is a big focus of this show.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, I can't recommend it enough. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's it. That's all I gotta say. Yeah. It's really good. Really, really good. Okay, so to wrap it up.
Sure.
Go watch it.
Absolutely. It's out on disc now, Blu-ray.
On the VHS.
Yeah. Get the old scratchy tracker out.
Yeah.
Fix it up.
It runs 10 tapes. Remember that when like long movies used to be on two VHSs? Yeah.
Well, because you didn't want to use the long play format because the quality wasn't as good.
Yeah.
So you had to have it on
you go to the intermission.
Yeah.
I think I had the first Lord of the Rings on VHS.
Nice.
Or the second one, even.
Really?
Yeah.
I know things like, say, like Ben-Hur was on TV.
Yeah.
Like that.
Like Gone with the Wind. Yeah. Too. Yeah. Anyways, I digress.
Sure.
So, we have a website. Mm-hmm. It's www.tomeofuselessness.com. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You need the W's.
Oh, okay.
I think I told you that last time.
You tell me that every time.
Yeah, just to be annoying.
It's tomeofuselessness.com.
Yeah.
Although, when I do it on my phone, I have to put the W's in.
Really?
Yeah. Otherwise, it says this page does not exist.
Really?
Yeah. So, take that in your pipe and smoke it.
Oh,
Dan.
shut down.
We also have an Instagram. It's at tome_of_uselessness. You can find me on Instagram at Lady Adventurer for Hire, and Dan is Loki604. Mm-hmm. You can like our posts.
Yeah.
And what else?
Download, follow us.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, and review.
Yeah, rate and review us.
Yeah.
Download us. Subscribe.
Absolutely.
We have a YouTube now. So subscribe to that.
Yeah.
I don't know what else.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks.
And you wanted to end on a happy note.
How does it go again? These violent
delights have violet roses.
These violet Bye.